Randy, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Neil.
I understand you've got a sore throat, so we won't push it too hard.
It's been improving, and thank you for moving yesterday to today. I much appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I was just talking to the Chief Commissioner, Simon Overland. What was the government aware of the deal between police and the AFL?
I wasn't aware of it. I haven't spoken to the police minister this morning, or the former police minister, as it is now, but I wasn't aware of it. And the reason for that is that these are operational matters, and I've always said that operational matters are matters for the police command, for the police commissioner, and I don't need to know or want to know about those operational matters. They are matters for them, so I was not aware.
So there wasn't a matter just for them when you were signing up with the desalination plant. That was government knew about that, didn't it?
Well, again, I was not aware of that.
But your minister was.
Well, I'm just saying I was not aware of that. And when all of the final desal matters came to Cabinet, that wasn't anything that was discussed in Cabinet. What was important in terms of the desal was getting the project underway, getting it underway as fast as possible at the best possible price.
Well, let's look at the principle in here. Is the government comfortable with a special deal being given to the AFL by the Victorian Police?
Well, I didn't hear your interview with the Chief Commissioner before, but I think what's occurred with the MOUs, and I've not been aware of any of the MOUs, Neil, so...
but your minister should be.
Yeah, but it would appear to me that they are operational matters, that in the past there has been a significant number of MOUs, whether you say rightly or wrongly, but there's been a significant number, and Victoria Police, under the new Police Commissioner, have recently announced that there will be a much smaller number of MOUs going forward, that there will not be MOUs with private sector organisations, and that the only MOUs in the future would be focused around any state agency or state department where there are critical works that need to be undertaken by the state.
So I think the question's still important. Are you comfortable with the principle? Because this was signed off by the Victorian Police. This goes beyond an operational matter. It says, and this is the principle of it, not the operation manager, Clause E4, the AFL and Victoria Police wish to develop a relationship to prevent or detect, if necessary, investigate, and then it goes through various things, including this, any criminal activity that would be prejudicial to the interests of the AFL. Now, what the hell has it got to do with Victorian Police, where the criminal activity is going to embarrass the AFL? Are you comfortable with that?
To be fair to me, the first I saw of that this morning was this morning, and I've been trying to think of what hypothetically such a circumstance could be. Someone put to me, just as we were getting ready for your program today, it might be, for example, where a footballer has been seen by the media or by the public engaging in, quote, unruly behaviour, but police weren't there, the person hasn't been charged, but the AFL might want to take responsibility for remedying that matter and for disciplining that player for the damage they've done to the code.
But that's not the point. The police have signed off on an agreement that they would that they will cooperate on criminal activity prejudicial to the interests of the AFL. Now, that is the police are there to enforce the law, not to protect the interests of the AFL or its image.
Well, I have here the Victoria Police response this morning. So, and part of that, they say, whilst we accept the terminology within the MOU has caused some concern, and we've since made it clear that we are stopping using MOUs except if they are with government or state agencies and are deemed imperative to the core functions of police, this agreement in no sense would have curtailed our ability, for example, to comment publicly on a police investigation. We would never seek permission from anyone before commenting on an investigation, and that would be completely inappropriate. And they then go on to say Victoria Police has absolute primacy in the investigation of criminal matters. The MOU has no bearing on this whatsoever. This clause merely aimed to set out the extent of cooperation we would expect from the AFL when investigating crimes. So that's the response I've been given when I saw that this morning, and that's the response that's come from Victoria Police. And I just say...
But it goes beyond the police, that's my point. I mean, there are agreements here to provide files to them, which they say didn't happen, but the agreement was made to provide files. There are agreements that the AFL will investigate matters of illegal betting, match fixing, drug taking, drug trafficking, sexual assault, family violence. What has it got to do with the AFL to be investigating police matters? And by what sense does the Victorian Police sign off to that agreement?
Well, again, I can only say that...
Well,
I can only say it's not an agreement that comes before me or Cabinet. The details of these things are not seen, not known to me. They are operational matters, and I can only repeat, in a sense we're having I suppose a second-hand conversation, I can only repeat what the Victoria Police have said, and that is, again, Victoria Police has absolute primacy in the investigation of criminal matters.
Understand that.
The MOU has no bearing on this whatsoever.
But that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous, because if you read the MOU, you clearly haven't had time yet. There's even a confidentiality clause in there.
And I think
each party must keep confidential information disclosed by other party confidential, except where required by the MOU, indicated otherwise by the disclosing party required by law. I mean, it is outrageous, Brendan. That's my point. As a point of principle, do you agree that this is quite an obscene document?
Well, I haven't read the document.
Will you?
Will
you ask your minister if he knew anything about it?
I'll do both of those things.
Are you comfortable with the fact that the person who signed off on it, Wendy Stindham, has now been promoted to Assistant Commissioner?
Well, again, that's not a matter for me. But
it's a matter of confidence in your assistant commissioners if they could sign off on this sort of garbage and then get promoted.
Well, the other thing I'd say about this MOU is my understanding is it's no longer in operation.
True. That in itself damns it.
Perhaps yes, perhaps no. And you, I'm sure you're wanting to speak to the AFL as well. So you've had my view on it. I'm not aware of it.
Your view is you haven't got a view on it.
Well, no, my view is strictly, which I think, to be fair, has been your view over the years as well, is that operational matters for police are matters strictly for the Chief Commissioner. They are not matters for politicians or the Premier or the Minister of the day to dabble in.
But these aren't operational matters. This goes to the core of democracy. This is police cooperating with the AFL to give AFL footballers a better deal than the public. That's what this is.
I think I heard the introduction to your program this morning on the way in the car. I think Victoria Police would vehemently deny that this is about a special deal. On that? Well, my view about Victoria Police, which I expressed again yesterday, and I think the day before yesterday at the opening of the new Carrum Downs Police Station, is we have a fine police force that do an excellent job across our state, and I believe overwhelmingly, Neil, that they treat every individual as equals. And if they were not treating individuals as equals before the law, I would be deeply disturbed by that.
Are you prepared to release all MOUs signed by the Victorian Police?
Well, that's not a matter for me. That's a matter for Victoria Police.
Are you prepared to ask Victorian Police to release all MOUs signed by Victoria Police?
I'd need to get advice on that, because they are operational matters, Neil. They're not something that's come to me.
Or what about those that no longer exist? I mean, to me, this has revealed something quite outrageous. So if we have a look at every one that no longer exists, that's not operational because they're no longer in existence, can we look at them?
Well, again, they're not matters that come to me. In a sense, you're asking me to open up sort of files potentially within police that they would say are operational matters, and I've just never done that.
How can they be operational if they don't exist anymore?
Well, they're matters for them. I've never got into that business, Neil. I never do. We've had discussions about this before. You know, should you have 5 police at the local station? Should you have 7? I've always said these are operational matters for police.
With respect, Premier, it's nothing like that. This is a matter that goes to the core of honesty and democracy in government, and it's the sort of thing. If your minister's not across, he damn well should be.
Well, again, when you say in government, it's not something that's ever come to government. I'm just telling you that.
Well, we don't know that. You don't know whether the minister saw it or not. They're aware of the deal with Aquashore. How do we know they weren't aware of the deal with Victorian Police? You haven't asked them yet, have you?
Well, I haven't asked them because it's never been in my purview.
Well, it is today.
Well, yeah, it is today. But I said the first I saw of this when I read it this morning in the paper, and I come into town today. I get briefed for the program with you, so I haven't had time to have those discussions or that investigation.
Okay.